I am the pastor of Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church. Been pastoring there in August. It'll be a long time. No, I think it'll be about 17 years. But that's the only church home I've ever known, so I can honestly say I've been a member of Morning Star for 64 years. I grew up here. I was born in Louisiana, but my father was a minister there. But strangely enough, he did something unforgivable in Louisiana. He married a black man to a white woman, which was illegal against the law. They were going to hang him, so he came up here, and we came along a few years later. He came as a laborer. He worked on several of the dams around the area. Later in his life, he ended up working for the Hanford Project in the carpool. But he was mostly a laborer and a preacher. When we got here to Pasco, like I said, I was only 2, so there's not a whole lot I remember in the very early years. But I do remember when I was about 5 or so. This street here, Weehee, was pretty much a dirt street, and tumbleweeds the size of Volkswagens were rolling down the road. I didn't know what that was. It scared me to death. We lived here in East Pasco because, for the most part, it was the only place we could live. Some of the history here, you may know that we were pretty much segregated to this side of town, and not only to this side of town, but this side south of Lewis Street was all African American. And so we were poor, and there was very little opportunity to blast the way out of that. Although I must give credit to my parents and the parents of that generation for their tenacity and their strength, because while we were poor, we were never really hungry. Okay, we didn't have the best clothes, but they were clean. Okay, and this community was central. I mean, it was a community. We knew each other. Everybody knew everybody, and the church was in the center of the community. It was an actual physical community. Right now, the African American community in Pasco is mostly psychological. It is not physical. But then it was very much physical. And I'm proud to say Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church was in the center of it. That's where everybody went to church. And it swelled as people came in. And so other churches broke off from it. New Hope came out of it. Greater Faith came out of it. Even St. James the Methodist Church, in some degree, was affiliated with Morning Star. So Morning Star was the center of the community. And I don't want to make it sound like it's greater than any other church. No, it was just there first. Yeah. I just remember that there was so much spirit in the church. I mean, folks would shout, they would, run up and down the aisle. I mean, it was almost overwhelming for a little kid, watching all this. But they were serious about worship. And then the food was just off the chain, because them old ladies could throw together, take something, and make nothing and make something out of it. And yeah, Morning Star, the church. It's not like it used to be, but I'll never forget how it was, because it shaped our lives. It centered us. And I would be, I don't know, I would be afraid to consider what might have happened to a lot of people if the church and God wasn't there. Yeah, that's how much influence it had. And then during the civil rights period, that area between 59 and 69, the church was very, very influential then in terms of moving or making a political statement. Still there, and still open, and still willing to spread the gospel.